Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. It's all connected. It's not just one crazy news story here or there. What we are witnessing is a systemic collapse of law and order that's been unleashed by the Democrats and their radical leftist ideology. And before any leftist jumps in scolding me for politicizing an event of violence, I'd first like to point out that I'm not part of the side that's literally trying to call for gun control after a psycho illegal immigrant went on a rampage in Boulder, Colorado, attempting to light people on fire.
Across the country, we are still in the midst of a gun violence epidemic. So we need to be acting with due concern for human life. I mean, this is why, of course, we have been fighting for a universal violent criminal background check. We are for a ban on military-style assault weapons in the country. Our lax gun laws are a danger to everybody in America, and that's something that we can act with some legislative determination to turn around. But people have got to lead their lives, and people need to act with courage, but it is the responsibility of government to try to keep everybody safe from, random arbitrary violence and bigotry and hate-motivated crimes.
So, of course, spare me of the lecture. Don't make political connections, they say. Well, that's the difference, right? There's a difference between clear politicization and actually connecting the dots correctly. And that's what I mean when I say it's all connected, guys. We are simply witnessing the effects of radical leftist ideology run amok. It's not just in Boulder, it's in every big Democrat city in America that's been affected by the scourge of left-wing thinking, the chaos unleashed on the people's streets. And now, of course, the Democrats want to run away and pretend as if it's not really happening. Well, they're not getting off the hook that easy. I got a clip I want to show you guys and a couple things to say. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so we know the backstory here. Another unaccounted for individual, an illegal migrant who embedded himself in a sanctuary city, committed a horrible act of violence in Boulder, Colorado. And so with all the news going around, I stumbled upon this witness interview that I thought raised an interesting perspective. Take a look.
Pearl Street is Pearl Street. And, these days there's not police on Pearl Street. There used to be. Things can happen. Things happen. Yeah. And not quite like that, but the potential is there.
How are you doing right now? Yeah.
I'm totally shaken up. I work on Pearl Street. I've been working on Pearl Street for 15 years. I do shows, and I'm always on the street. I know everyone. I see everyone. I know the homeless people. I know the people that run the businesses. And it's like, these are the people, this is the community. It's super traumatic. I'm like totally shook up right now. I think I'm not sure what to think. It's like, I'm here all the time. So, yeah, I've seen a lot of crazy stuff on Pearl Street, but not anything like that.
I don't want to say it can't happen here because anything can happen anywhere, but this is one of those places, right, where it almost feels like it can't happen here.
Yeah, it shouldn't happen here. Pearl Street's got still some of the old magic still exists here, but it's different. Boulder has changed. Pearl Street has changed. And, there's things, I see stuff all the time and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Now there's like security guards in front of the bathrooms, so people don't smoke in the bathrooms.
Yeah.
That's the truth. It's out there. It's dirtier than it used to be. It's not as safe as it used to be, but you don't expect to see it at that level.
You see, this right here, this is exactly what Democrats are running away from. People are starting to connect the dots. You got a resident being interviewed, and the first place his brain goes to, whether knowing or unknowingly, is Democrat policies. It's dirtier. It's not as safe as it used to be. I mean, if that doesn't describe the Democrat track record, then I don't know what does. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. We've seen it. The streets of San Francisco, LA, New York, Chicago, Portland, Seattle. These once great cities of America that are now filled with homeless encampments, open drug dens and drug dealing, criminals who essentially roam the streets with zero accountability. And then on top of that, let's throw in the sanctuary city problem, a massive influx of illegal aliens, many of them who are criminals themselves that have embedded themselves in the criminal underworld and networks. Well, we've seen it. We've seen the TDA members taking over entire neighborhoods. We've seen the despair and the squalor on the streets. That's the Democrat record, and that's exactly where this this witness's brain went to. People are starting to make the connection. And that's what Democrats have been running away from, running like cowards instead of facing the music. I mean, here's the perfect clip to really make that point. We've got California State Senator Scott Wiener getting asked by a local news outlet to go on a tour of the junkie-filled sidewalks of San Francisco, and well, just look at his reaction.
Would you like to see with us? What would you like to go with us to see what's going on there?
I'm here regularly, so I'm aware of what's going on, and it's bad.
Yeah, of course he didn't want to entertain that. They've created this era of damage and despair, but they don't want to be associated with it. No, they'd rather gaslight the country into thinking that this is normal. Well, it's not. And there's no way in the richest country in the world, in the greatest country in the world, that this kind of societal decay should be acceptable. It's not normal or something that everyone just has to tolerate. It's not part of living in a compassionate left-wing society. It's the downfall of their failed policies, and it should be identified as such. But they want to have you believe that it's all about being compassionate, and you're a bigot if you challenge any of their ideas. You're standing in the way of societal progress, they tell you. They call it equity, they call it compassion, there's always a label, but all of it is nothing more than moral cowardice and political expediency. The reality is they're too scared to enforce the law, too scared to do what is common sense and good for society because they're scared of the woke mob, the woke radical left that's hijacked their party, this zero accountability doctrine. And now, due to their cowardice, you're expected to just sit back and accept all of this as normal, or not attribute the general chaos, the violence that's been unleashed on American streets onto them? Absolutely not. That's just connecting the dots. You know, Democrats had the gall to tell us that defunding the police was going to make communities safer, remember that? They said it with a straight face, while cities they ran burned to the ground. Then crime spiked, businesses closed, families fled, and are we not to attribute that to the Democrat record either? It's almost like Democrats are the party of arson. Run into the house, set it on fire, and then run out the back door and pretend like you had nothing to do with it when caught. And now with this attack in Boulder, you got a guy screaming pro-Palestinian slogans, and he's an illegal migrant. Yeah, whether you like it or not, it's on you, or at least people are associating it with you. Democrats refuse to acknowledge the rot they've created. They refuse to admit that their open borders insanity has let criminals and extremists waltz into the country. They refuse to accept responsibility for the policies that turned once great cities into crime-infested hellscapes. They think they can shame us into silence by calling us bigots or fearmongers, conspiracy theorists, or bad faith political actors every time we point out the obvious, that this is madness, and it's their frickin' fault. Democrats did this. They own the despair. This is not normal. It's a George Soros experiment gone wrong, and I just hope enough people realize that. This is what happens when you sell your country's people out, and this is also what happens when you vote for the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.